When we first started getting iPads in our classrooms, my classroom was very highly behavioral and needed to see how you treat these pieces of technology. They didn't really understand, how to press the button, how to press the screen. They weren't sure how to share the iPad with their friends. So really making that a model in your classroom and telling them if this is not being used properly, this is what is going to happen, and really following through with that, which can be difficult, but in the long run, it's really helpful with your iPad use. Some of our programs are one-to-one and some of our programs are not. For the programs that are not one-to-one, it's not a problem. Group work becomes really important, and it really helps with social skills instruction. Borrowing iPads from other people. We had a set schedule at Fairmont at first where you borrowed at a certain time and you had to make sure that it was back in the cart so that other people could use it. And then using the interactive whiteboards. I know a lot of our programs have Apple TVs that they're using, but you can also connect. There are connectors that can connect right to a smart board so that you can control your iPad and use a smart board as well. We also have Splashtop that we're going to talk about a little bit later that some of our programs are using for that as well. So you don't need a full set in order to use them in the classroom. One of my favorite apps and programs is Nearpod. It has completely changed the way a lot of our classrooms are being run. Nearpod is an interactive presentation tool. Think PowerPoint, but on a much larger scale, and it's interactive. So the students can view the material from their iPad, and they can share their answers and their responses to you as the teacher or as the related service provider. Then you get to save all of that data. So you can use it for a later time, maybe in the IEP, or when you're grading later on. You're able to upload PowerPoints and PDF files. They have really cool features like a virtual field trip, so you can type into Google Maps where you want to go. It'll pop up on the student's iPad through Nearpod, and they can navigate. If, say, you're learning about the Statue of Liberty, they can navigate the area around the Statue of Liberty. So it's really bringing that field trip into the classroom. You can insert interactive questions, you can do a poll, you can do an open-ended question, you can do a quiz. Those can be sent directly to your computer, to the iPad that you're using, to the smartboard if you have it showing on the smartboard, and then the students can see their responses along with everybody else's. It's a pretty cool tool. Students can log in from any device, so if you're not one-to-one, they can log in from another computer. If cell phones are allowed in your school, the student can log in with a cell phone and view it that way. There's a teacher-directed and there's a self-paced. So if I wanted to direct the lesson myself, I would set it into the live session, and then I direct when the students turn the page in the slides. There's a homework option where the students can complete it on their own if you're doing independent work in the classroom, or you can just send it home for homework, and the students have up to 30 days to complete that project. Again, the data is sent to your teacher account, so you will get a report every week. Mine comes on Sunday for some reason, and it will tell me everything that I did that week, what my students did, how they responded, and I have that saved for as long as I have my account. Subscriptions for that are $108 a license, and the app is free. And you only need one license per teacher. Yeah?
With that, so with one license, is there a cap on how many students you can have under that license?
You can run 50 students at a time.
Okay.
The students just log in with a PIN number, so they don't have their own separate account. So there's no real way of tracking how many students are logging into each presentation. Only if they're all logging in at the same time, it'll time out after 50. Yeah, no problem. So this is what it looks like. Over here you have your teacher view. So that would be you controlling the slides, and you can do that again on your iPad, you can do it on your iPhone, you can do it on an Android phone, you could do it on the computer, however you want to do it. And then over on the right-hand side will be the student's view, so that's what they're viewing. What's really cool about this is you can embed a website, and it will pull up the website on the student's iPad, so they don't have to go in and type the website. and they can navigate, and while they're navigating, they get locked into that website. So they can't go to YouTube or they can't go anywhere else. They're locked in until you send them to a different slide. And you can also embed videos in there, so the students can watch the video at their own time. I think. Go away. Okay. And here's what the data will look like for you. So when a student answers a question, so this was a quiz, this will pop up on your screen and you can take a look and see how many got it right, how many got it wrong, how many have not answered. You can show this to your students if you want to, or you can just keep it for yourself, depending on the level of your students and how they might react to that. Kahoot is a really cool sounding app, and it has to do with digital gaming. So with Kahoot, the students have a login and they log into the game using their login PIN. I think this is the next slide, right? Yeah, okay. So they can log in from any type of device. They can log in from their phone, their iPad again, computer, and they log into a game that either you have created or that they have found on their own. They get points awarded to them based on the speed and the accuracy of their answers. They have pre-made games with content available. Some of the games are linked to Common Core standards, some of them are not. If you don't find a game that you like, you can create your own game. It's very easy to create, and it's free. So you're able to create these games, really good review games. If your students have a test coming up, if you want to see mastery levels of your students, this is a really cool way to do it. And for your students that answer really quickly, there's a little image that comes up and kind of entertains them while they're waiting for their friends to answer the question. So you don't have students who are constantly waiting for everybody else to respond. And this is what it looks like. So you would display the question up on the board, and the answers will come up on their device. So they can take a look at it. What used the argument, I think, therefore I exist, or who used the argument, so then they would pick on the color and the shape of the answer that they think is correct. Again, that data gets sent directly to you, you keep that data, and the students get to play a game. Yes?
Do they play it on the iPad? Can they?
They can, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, they can play it on any device.
And can you do like a field of 2, a field of 3? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, if you want to customize it, you can customize it in any way you want.
Sorry, I have a question actually about the last one, about
Yeah.
Nearpod, and I should have asked you.
No, it's fine.
But just in terms of the licensing, over at Loop, we've got very tiny classrooms.
Mhm.
Would we still have to do a license per teacher, or is it something that, say, for like a cluster, a high school cluster, could we get one license between the two of us and still only have
Yeah, we can
13 students under it?
We can definitely talk about it, because like I said, it doesn't really track the students that are attached to it, it just tracks the teachers. So if you wanted to have maybe your high school cluster, you could call it high school, put it under one email address, and then you can all use it. And then you guys can also share your lessons as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Scanner Pro. And Scanner Pro is going to be for you, not necessarily your students. This will allow you to take worksheets and scan them really quickly and turn them into a PDF. I did this for a campus yesterday. They were reading a story and they wanted to have it as a digital copy. So we went through and we scanned the pages to make it a PDF to turn it into actually a Nearpod presentation for their students. So really easy to use. You take a picture of your document, you hold it over, it clicks, you get to take the borders and shrink or expand however you want to, and then it will crop the document and turn it into a PDF. That's going to be really great for your students who need screen readers, the text-to-speech. That will really help out with Kurzweil. And it really helps save on paper. I know at Fairmount, in about 6 months, they saved $40,000 on printing and paper because a lot of their students are completing their work on the iPads or on the computers as opposed to paper pencil. And to be honest, it's more entertaining to do something through the iPad than it is when you're doing paper pencil. Hoping that doesn't shut down. It works with images, it works with worksheets. You can edit out images that you don't want, and it's free. So definitely an app for teachers and related service providers to have on their iPads. Really easy. This goes through the steps. You take your photo, you can save it, you can email it, you can print it, and it will sync on whatever devices you have your email address linked to. Once you are able to take that PDF, Skitch will actually annotate that PDF for you. This app will underline, it will highlight, it will circle. You can add images to your PDF, to your photos, and work can be captured and saved as a screenshot and sent directly back to the teachers. So again, instead of doing paper pencil, you can take your PDF that you created on Scanner Pro, open it up in Skitch, and you're able to annotate over it that way. Just like a paper pencil, but now it's a little more exciting and a little more fun. The students can choose their colors, they can highlight whatever they would like, and it can be submitted right back to you. Epic is a new app that we just found within the past couple of weeks. It is a free ebook library for educators. Educators are able to get this for free, and it's for ages 1 through 12. There's a wide range of different types of books that are available. If parents wanted a home account, it's $4.99 a month. These books can be read to the students. They don't, unfortunately, offer comprehension questions to go along with it, but it's really great for any type of reading, comprehension, independent reading that you have. Read alouds, this is a great tool to have. You're also able to create your own classroom. Students can have accounts, they can log into your classroom, and you can make recommendations for those individual students. So if you have a student who really likes to read about trucks, you can send that student's ebooks about trucks, and that will be available to them in their own personal library. Yeah?
Can you use this for like a dyad and then use Nearpod and do like comprehension questions?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So it's just a really great tool to have. Again, it doesn't really have comprehension questions built in, but there is a way that you can go around that. And reading an ebook is a little more exciting for our students sometimes, and a little more engaging. And the animation and the pictures that go along with it are beautiful. They're just beautiful graphics. Educanon is also a new app that we're using in some of our programs, and it's an interactive video-based lesson. So you take a video that you saw on YouTube or Khan Academy, maybe you saw something on BrainPop that you really liked. You're able to take that video, dump it into Educanon, and then you can insert questions. So as you're going, maybe you want to stop halfway through and ask a WH question. You're able to do that. You can do a true or false, you can do a multiple choice, you can do a free response, and it's really just to keep your kids engaged and for you to make sure that they understand what you're teaching. Really great if you're thinking of going more of a flipped classroom where the students can do this at home, and then you can come in and create projects based on this. The accounts are free, and the really great thing about this is the students can't fast forward. So they actually have to go through the video, and they actually have to answer every single question before it moves them on to the next one. And again, you're able to get all of that data from what they answered, how long it took them to create it, how long it took them to answer the questions. So again, a really great way to provide content without giving them a book and saying, hey, read chapter 1. Class Dojo is being used a lot in one of our programs right now. Class Dojo is a behavior tracking, it's one of the behavior tracking apps that we have. So you're able to select and customize behaviors. You create a classroom. Each kid gets their own little monster, and you can have the students pick their own monster, or you can pick the monster for them, whatever you'd like to do. And you as the teacher are able to give or take away points based on their behavior throughout the class or throughout the day. And again, you can set those behaviors. So if you have specific IEP behaviors that you're tracking, you can put those in there. If you have maybe being a good friend is something that you're working on in social skills, you can put that behavior in there. What's really great about the Pasadena school that's using this is there's a parent connection along with it, so the parents download the app and the teachers can communicate directly with the parents and show them exactly how their kid's day is going. So I've seen them do this before where they sit and they're taking data and they're giving points and taking away points, and they can actually take a photo of the student or of the student work and send it directly to that parent. So that parent gets immediate feedback of how that student is doing throughout the day. Obviously, you need to get the okay from your administration and from the parents, but it's a really great communication tool with home. They also have additional resources such as certificates. So if you are earning for a big party and you want to celebrate with certificates, those are available through this site. They have class decorations where you can hang monsters throughout the room. There's parent letters that explain to the parents exactly what Class Dojo is, and everything is free. So here's an example of a class that's already been set up. And you can see Hugh got a point for participation. He did a really great job. Brad Pitt obviously had a negative behavior because he has a negative point. Megan Fox isn't doing so well. So it's really great and exciting. The kids like to look at it and see how they're doing throughout the day. Here are some examples of some positive behaviors. Again, you can use those behaviors or you can create your own behaviors. And then these are some negative behaviors. Some people don't like to award negative points or negative behaviors, so you don't have to use these. But if that's effective for your students to see, it's a really great visual, so they can know, oh, my behavior was off task, and you can do it in that moment, and they can have that feedback. Elements 4D is, we always include this in here because it includes augmentative reality, and it's a really cool thing that not many people know much about. And right now it's just for chemistry. So they give you little chemistry blocks, and they look like those blocks right over there. You can get wooden ones, or on the site you can download paper ones, and I actually have them if you want to see a demonstration after this. But they're basically chemical blocks, and you can take a look through this app and you can see what each element actually looks like. So within the box, it will show you what chlorine looks like. It will show you what fluoride looks like, which is really helpful for our students who can't really think as abstractly as you need to in order to visualize these elements. The website also has free lessons, and you can take 2 or 3 boxes and put them together, and it will actually show you a chemical reaction. So these are what the boxes look like, and that's what they'll look like when you put it underneath the app. It uses the camera on the iPad to take an augmentative reality photo of those blocks, and then they turn them into whatever element you're looking for. So it's really cool. Those 2 blocks we put together, and they made H2O water, and you're able to move it around, and it looks like there's actually water within the blocks. iMovie, a lot of iPads already come with iMovie installed in it. If yours doesn't, it is $4.99. You can use it for vlogging and for other projects. You can create movies to document mastery of content, video modeling. There's a lot of editing skills. It's really easy to use. You take a video using the camera on your iPad, you dump it in, and you're able to edit. You're able to add text, you're able to add sound, and a lot of the kids already know how to use this, so if you don't, they'll definitely be able to teach you how to use it. I've seen this used a lot in mental health classrooms where they're working on a specific skill. One group of kids, they were working on bullying and how it's not okay to bully. So the students, 2 of the students acted as a superhero and 1 of the students acted as a villain, and they did this whole movie about villains and superheroes and how the superheroes overcome the villains. So it was a really great way for them to show that they really understood the skill that they were working on in mental health, and they were able to show it to their friends and their families. And the computer's logging off. Okay. I do, I have a copy of it. So iMovie is a really great tool to use. It's also really helpful if you're reading a story and you want students to reenact what they just read, or you want to check their comprehension of a story that they read. You're able to create a movie, and the students are able to act it out and really make the learning their own instead of completing a paper pencil test. You could also use it if you have students who are missing a day of class. You can record your lesson, or you can record how to complete something, send it home, and the students are able to watch it with their parents. That can also be really helpful. The next one is Strip Designer, so it should be on page 9, the top of page 9. Strip Designer, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're able to make comic strips, so you're able to add images, you're able to add text, and create a comic strip. And a lot of people, why would you use that in the classroom? There's a lot of different ways you can use this in the classroom. I've seen it used as a word wall, so instead of just putting words and definitions up on a wall, you give the students a word, they have to find the definition of that word, they have to find a photo or create a photo of that word, maybe a synonym and an antonym, then you were able to print it out and post it along your walls. So it's a really great way for the students to show their mastery and to see things that they actually created throughout the classroom. I've seen teachers create visual routines this way, so if you have a student who is following a checklist, this is a really great way for you to create a checklist for them, or they can create their own. You can create images, you can import images. It's just a really fun and exciting thing for the students to create. And that app is $2.99. It's also really great for note-taking and graphic organizers as well. Yeah.
Have you used the BitStrips app? It's similar to this. It's free. I was just wondering if you've used it and how it compares to this.
I have not personally used it, no.
It doesn't do note-taking or graphic organizers or checklists, so this is a step above it.
We found it to be really helpful for our kids. Kidblog, which is just what it sounds like, it's a blogging site for kids. So as a teacher, you can create a blog for your classroom. I used this in my classroom 2 years ago. We had a Kenny the Chameleon, because we're the chameleons at Fairmount, and Kenny the Chameleon went home with a student each weekend, and the student was asked to do something fun with Kenny and document it through a blog. So the students would go home with Kenny that weekend, they would post pictures to the blog, they would write about what they did with Kenny over the weekend, and all of that would be uploaded onto the Kidblog. Before it actually appears on the Kidblog, an email would get sent to me saying, so-and-so uploaded a blog about blah, 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 blah. So I could take a look at it, see what the content was, make sure it's appropriate, and then I can let it go and put it up on the site. A really great feature that Kidblog has, you're able to take a look at everything, all of the content before it gets loaded, which really helps with any type of cyberbullying that you might encounter with your students. It takes it away completely because you're able to monitor what the students are doing. The next day, students would come in, they would read the blog that morning, and they would comment on other students' entries. Really great social skills lesson and really great digital citizenship. How do we respond to friends? How do we put content out onto the web? And the understanding that it could be seen by other people's families. It could be seen by other teachers. It could be seen by my friends. And I want to make sure it's appropriate. Completely password protected. Only the people that you want to view it will view it, so you don't have to worry about anyone taking a look at it, stealing photos, stealing content. It's only available to who you make it available to. For older students, really great for digital portfolios. Students can upload their content and they're able to take a look at what they've created. You're able to take a look at it and you're able to keep a record of everything. It is a free app and you can use it for about 30 days and trial it, and then it's $30 a year to keep the subscription for it. No, it's fine, no. And then you can see on the next two slides, there's kind of pictures of what the blog would look like with the content, and then kind of the back end, so when you log in, what it would look like for you. The next app is an app called Plickers. Plickers is really a great tool for the classrooms that do not have one-to-one iPads, because you only really need one iPad. Yes. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
And if you want, I can reset the remote.
So again, this is kind of what Strip Designer looks like in a bigger image. You're able to import your own photos and your own call-out boxes, making it a little bit more exciting. Kidblog, so this is what your blog would look like to the readers. And then this is the back end. So when you log in, this is what you see, and it will show you how many are published, how many are pending. So those are ones that have been submitted that you haven't published just yet. And then what other students are drafting through this site. So the students create their own user login and password, and they're able to communicate with this blog. It was a really great tool for our classroom because all of the teachers could go on and look at it and could comment on the students' work, and the students would comment on each other's work, and then the parents could see what was going on. You know, they could see what was going on with their friends, they could see what was going on in the classroom, and if we had something really cool that was happening in the classroom, we could document that for parents. Plickers, like I said, really good for a classroom that doesn't have one-to-one iPad use. With Plickers, it is a student response tracking app, so it will track your students' answers as you're teaching. You print out these nifty cards that look like this. They have different sizes of the cards, and there are anywhere from 30 to 60 in a pack, depending on what size you want. If you have 60 kids, that's a lot of kids, so hopefully you don't need 60. But each student gets assigned to one card. And if you can see on the cards, they're labeled A, B, C, and D. What the student will do is they'll take their card. If I'm card number 3, I will take my card. And when my teacher asks a question of me, I will hold it up with the letter response that I think is correct. So if I think the answer is A, I would put letter A up at the top and I would hold it up for my teacher to see. What the teacher does is take the iPad, scans the room using the app, and all of the responses will pop up as data onto my iPad. The students never have to see it if you don't want them to, but you can also show them a digitalized graph. All of the cards are different, so none of the students have the same one. You don't have to risk cheating. And this is really helpful for your students who might be a little nervous to answer questions and who get a little self-conscious about whether their answer is right or wrong. No one knows if they answered it right or wrong except for you. So this is what it would look like in the classroom. I have students over here, we asked a question. Students over here are holding up their response cards, and it will track how many students answer and which students actually answered. And then over here, it will tell me who answered what and give me a graph of the answers. The green answers were the correct answer, and the red answers were the wrong answers. And for students who didn't answer, it will just leave a blank. So it's a really great way to keep data collectively on your students, but also individually. And you're able to create questions on the fly, or you can create it ahead of time. I would recommend having just one set that you use for all of your students. You can assign students the same card in different classes. So if I have one class set, I can assign Jenny card 1 in period 1, and then I can assign Johnny card 1 in period 2. As long as they're in different class periods, it will work for each student. So it's a fun app, it's free, and the students really like to see, they have to hold up their cards and see what the graph looks like if you want to share it with them. Quick and easy exit tool for checking for understanding. Splashtop. Our classrooms that do not have Apple TVs are using this more than our classrooms that do. It controls your computer remotely from your iPad, so your students can use the iPad to control what's happening on the computer and vice versa. You can use the computer to control what's happening on the iPad. You can share content from the computer and devices with your students. It allows students the opportunity to annotate on your presentations. The students can share from their iPad, so they can create something on their iPad and they can send it up to the board using Splashtop. And it integrates really well with PowerPoint and ActiveInspire. Those licenses are $30 a year, and it's a free app. And this is kind of what it would look like. So I have a student who is using Splashtop, and they have the presentation both on their iPad and on the computer, and they're able to manipulate the computer through the iPad.
How many iPads does the license cover?
It will cover that computer's classroom, so that all of the iPads can link up to that classroom computer. Puppet Pals is something that's been around for a really long time. We still find it to be really helpful and useful in our classrooms. It's storytelling in a theater format. So when the students log in, they get the option of picking 8 characters. They can select from the characters that are already in the program, or they can take photos of their friends. They can take photos from the internet and load it into the characters. They can also choose their own background. So we have kind of fairy tale backgrounds, but they can maybe take a picture of their classroom, or they can take a picture of something outside and use that as their background. The app records movement of characters, and it records the background movement, and it will record voice. So your students are clicking a red record button, they're able to move the characters around, and they're able to give voice, and it records everything at the same time. Really good for sequencing events, story recall, presenting creative writing. So a student could write a story, and this could be their presentation mode. Demonstrating mastery of historical events. My assistant teacher would use this all the time. He would teach an event that happened, and the students would have to recall the order of the events, or recall the event in context, and they would have to find the characters, they would have to find an appropriate backdrop, and they would go through the Puppet Pal app and recreate that historical event. And again, really a lot more enjoyable than just taking a test on that event, or having to write a paper on it. Really a lot more fun for our students. Again, it is free, and it will save. You can send it, you can create an actual video out of it and share it with parents. A lot of our students also used it in their free time, so anytime they had earned time, they would create their own movies and their own stories. So a good creative outlet for a lot of our students. This is kind of what it looks like. So here are the characters that are already in the program. Again, you can put your own photos in there. You can put, if you're working on a video modeling of a social skill, you could put that student in there along with the teachers, and the student can go through the behavior or the skill that you're targeting. WEO, please, if you take nothing else out of this, please take WEO out of this. WEO is Pinterest for educators. We absolutely love WEO. It's a brand new program. It's just starting up. It's completely free right now. Please take advantage of it, if nothing else. So you sign up, you create your classroom, and you follow boards of interest, just like you do with Pinterest. It's exactly the same. You can follow peers, you can follow teachers, you can follow whoever you would like, and you add students to your classes by creating a username and a password. You don't need an email. It's completely free. You create it for the students, and they log into your classroom. Once you've created your classroom, you search topics and your feed will populate with related lessons, just like with Pinterest. Planning a wedding, so I'm looking up wedding stuff all the time, populates with wedding information. Same thing with my teaching. I log into WIO, we're learning about the life cycle of plants. I'm going to type in life cycle of plants. All the lessons that have already been created by teachers and have been reviewed by teachers will populate. So all I need to do is take a look, make sure that it's appropriate for my students, make sure it's asking the questions that I need, and I can assign it directly to my students. It will get sent to their WIO account, they can access it on the iPad, and they can complete the lesson, complete the activity, all through the app. They don't have to leave it, they don't have to print anything out, I don't have to give anything to them physically, it just gets sent directly to them.
Can you put the document in Boardmaker online?
For
Sequencing of it.
what you can do is you could create that document on Boardmaker online,
Okay.
and then you can create your own lesson on WIO and send it through that way. And that's the other thing. If you happen to find lessons that are kind of appropriate, but not really, and you want to change some things, you can go through and change those lessons. Or you can create your own lesson. It's very easy. They show you exactly how to do it. They give you a template. Input text here. Input video here. Input these questions. Really super simple to use. Your students log in, they turn it into you, and the app actually grades it for you. So you don't even have to grade anymore. You just take a look, see what the students did, provide feedback if you want, tell them to resubmit it if you don't think it was quality work, and it will send it right back to the student. How this is free, I have no idea, but it is. So please, please take advantage of it. And you can also send activities to your peers, to your friends. If you're using something that you really like, send it to them, just like with Pinterest. You're sending information, sharing information. And again, if you don't like it, create something your own or change and modify something that somebody has already created.
Are the lessons only accessible through the app, or can they be accessed through a computer at home?
Yep, they can be accessible, yep. So this is kind of what it would look like. So I logged in, I typed, I don't even know what I typed in there, but I was searching for something, and all of the lessons that are related to that content area or that subject populate. And you can do it by something specific, or you can look up by a Common Core standard. And this is what a sample lesson would look like. So you have an image, you have text, and then you have questions that the students would answer. Again, you can input a video, you can input a PDF, you can input a website that the students go to. Photo math is something that we kind of stumbled on one day. And this is really great for parents, really great for teachers, especially if you're into those high school mathematics that you just don't understand. I've had to do this many times, and I'm a little embarrassed by the amount of times I've had to do it. But photo math uses your camera to take a picture of a math problem. They don't do handwritten math problems just yet, but a typed math problem. And what it will do is you point your device at the problem, and the photo math will solve that problem for you. Not only will it solve the problem for you, it will give you the steps to solve that problem. So for those of us who are teaching algebra and don't remember anything from middle school math or high school math, this app will really help you to help teach your students. So you're able to take that photo, fly through the steps, and see exactly how you would answer that question. Also good for your students who are checking their work. So they finish their problem, they can take a picture of it and make sure that they did it the correct way. Again, it's free. Free, really easy to use. You just point, take a picture, and it pops up in red. There's an example of what it would look like. So over here, it has my answer. I click steps, and over on the right-hand side, it will show me the steps to take to solve that problem. Boardmaker Online is huge for us right now. And for those of you who have ever used Boardmaker, please make the transition to Boardmaker Online. We have started this actually this year, and we're picking up speed with a lot of our programs right now. It is the online version of the Boardmaker disk. To be honest, when I was in the classroom, I never used Boardmaker because I could never find a disk. When I did find a disk, it didn't work. I couldn't get it on my computer. I couldn't take it home. It was just confusing to me, which is the complete opposite for Sarah. She loves the disk. So when this came along, it was kind of a give and take of some things we can do better, some things we can't do better. But what's really great about this is you can access Boardmaker online anywhere. You don't need a disk anymore. You need your login and your password, and you're able to go on from any computer. You can log on from an iPad, but if you're going to be making boards and activities, it's best to use the computer. And they have templates that are already created for you, so you don't need to create anything from scratch anymore. They have a bunch of different activities. They have arts and crafts. They have writing activities. They have schedules. They have first then boards. They have anything you could ever imagine with the motions and the buttons already created for you. You can take a look at the activities and the templates, see if you like it, trial it out, and then create and make your own. You can edit text and symbols very easily, so you can use the Boardmaker symbols that everyone's used to. You can use media that's on your computer, bring it up right through Boardmaker instead of having to copy and paste. Or you can do a web search, and Boardmaker will pull up all of the images that are attached to the text that you're looking for. You can assign activities to one student, or you can assign your activities to multiple students. In a lot of our programs right now that are one-to-one, our students have their own Boardmaker login and password, and they're able to log into Boardmaker, and all of the activities that their teacher creates get sent directly to their iPad. So their visual checklists are sent to them, and they're able to use that independently. Their schedules, their activities for the day, everything gets sent to them. Their morning meeting gets sent to them on their iPad, and they're able to access that as many times as they need to. It's a 30-day free trial, so you can try it for 30 days and see if you like it. From there, I want to say it's about $150 for 10 licenses and 50 student licenses. And here's an example of an activity that we created for one of our students. It's his daily schedule, so he takes his icons on the left-hand side, drags them over onto his schedule. It will give him auditory feedback, so it will tell him what each activity is, and then he's able to go through and check off the activities. Some of the templates will collect data for you, so you can have it linked to the student's IEP goals and objectives, and they can have a guided session that tells them what's right and what's wrong and prompts them to try again. Or you can have it in the data collecting mode, and it will collect data for you. It will tell you how long it took them, it will tell you what they got right and what they got wrong, and it will record it in a printout fashion that's really great for your IEP meetings. They also have printables, so just with the old school version, if you want to have your students cut and paste, you can do that. And you can also just have interactive tools, so your students can interact with the activities without it collecting any data. So this is the student view. So when the students log in, these are all the assignments that have been assigned to that particular student. So those are available until you take it away from that student, and then it will go away. But it's really clean, very visual, and easy for the students to see what you're giving them. There are activities that are already created by other teachers, so you can use those. You can download them onto your site. You can modify and adapt them however you want. I would recommend playing around with them before you give them to your students, because sometimes the links don't always work and the actions don't always work. And what we've done at Kennedy is we've created a very collaborative model. So with our students, we have a community that has one login, and then everybody within that community is able to log in and access those students in that community. So our related service providers, our administrators, our teachers, they all have access to that community login, the teacher login. They all collaborate on schedules, they collaborate on materials for related services, on their content materials, and then they're able to push it out to students. Also, if one of our classrooms creates something really great, they're able to use that and maybe use it in a different classroom. So a really great tool to use collaboratively to meet the needs of all your students. And the last one that I have today is GoNoodle. I have a lot of friends whose children use this in their classrooms in typical schools as well, and GoNoodle is just really good for brain breaks. And we know that our students need to break throughout the day. Maybe it's every 25 minutes, maybe it's every 30 minutes, maybe it's after every class period, however you run your classroom. But this is really great for when your students have a lot of energy or if they're falling asleep in class. You can pull up GoNoodle. They have zillions of music videos, all appropriate content. And it really promotes calming. There's some that promotes energy release, breathing, yoga. You can review Common Core facts if you wanted to. There are some that are basketball games where the kids pretend they're shooting basketball hoops. They can do track relays, so they're running in place, trying to beat their friends. They have indoor recess activities, so if it's raining and you're not sure what to do, you can put that on and it gives the students different options of what they can do. But it's a really great way to have a structured break. Our students need breaks, but we don't always have the time to structure them properly, and this does that for you. There's just dance videos on there, Zumba videos on there, and the accounts are free. The students get to be a monster, they get to choose their little monster, and they're awarded points for each activity that they complete. So again, they have different types of videos that you can watch. Some of them are really super annoying, and those are the ones that the kids are going to want to do every single day, but it really gets them centered and ready to go for the next class period. And there again are some options. They have Happy from the Minions movie. They have a version of the Whip and Nay Nay that's appropriate. They have Zumba, the Cha-Cha slide. So that's pretty much it for me. If you have any questions or you would like to see some of these apps demonstrated, I can certainly do that. I can stick around for another half an hour or so. If you have any additional questions, like you try something and you want more information, or you have some apps that you're not so sure about, Sarah and I review apps all the time, and there are so many apps out there, and it gets to be overwhelming. This is what we do. We trial apps, we see which ones are good and which ones are not so great, and we actually go out and use them in the classroom with our students. So definitely email me, let me know any questions that you have. I'm here to help because I understand how overwhelming it can be, but how useful this technology can be for our students.
Do you ever keep like a running list or like up on the website? Or?
We do through our intranet. We're trying to work something out where it's available to everybody, but not it's available to everybody just yet. But I can definitely provide you with a lot of the apps that we're using in our schools, for sure. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope that some of this stuff you guys can use. I know it was long, lots of information, but hopefully you guys can use it.